And the good thing about them as well is that if you do them and you qualify, even if you don't practice, or even if you practice a year, it becomes easier for you to get into masters. Greetings, friends. This is Dr. T, and I welcome you. And it has been a long time since we spoke, or I had a video where I just provide some words of encouragement. So I thought I would do a video just to give you some form of encouragement, mainly because we've been doing a lot of videos encouraging people to get into masters, and there's been a lot that we have done. If you have not checked our videos, we had live session that we have done. Just go to the channel, just go to live session, or just go to the playlist. You will be able to get all the videos that we have done lately, just to encourage people to get into the master's program. There's a lot that we have done, and I wanted to do this video mainly to just encourage those who might not have made it into the master's program, particularly those who might be feeling a bit despondent about what to do, where to from now, or those who just have an honors, or those who have a degree, have not been selected anywhere, and you just want alternative options. So this video, I'm going to be sharing just about some alternative options when you've got an honors in psychology and you never got into masters. And I hope that this video will help you to prepare yourself to get into masters, or at least to start to guide you through your career in psychology profession, because the psychology profession is very broad. And I want to encourage you that if you have not seen, there's a video that I've done where I speak about the scope of profession, where I speak about the profession of psychology, about all the different aspects about the profession of psychology. So check that video where I speak about the scope of the profession, where I speak about all the field in psychology, and I speak about the counseling and psychometry, which are not necessarily psychologists, but they are also in the profession of psychology, which is some of the options that you can consider if you are not selected into psychology. Now, when it comes to selection, there's a video that I've done, and I want to refer you to that video in particular, because what people don't understand is that it is becoming difficult every year to get into masters in psychology, and mainly because of what I shared about in this particular video, where I show you that, hypothetically speaking, if there are thousands of people, or let's say 100 people were not selected into the master's program this year, it means in 2024 those 100 people are going to apply. Chances of them applying is very high, and they're going to add into the people who are new, who want to get into the masters, who just finished their honors degree, plus the 100 which were not selected this year. The following year, in 2025, out of that 100, let's say 90 has not been selected. The 90 will add into the 100 of next year, and will add into the new people who were not selected, who were new into who just finished their honors. So you can just imagine every year there's an accumulation, more addition of people who want to get into the program. So ultimately it's going to be very difficult. That is why I do this video, because then it implies when you go for selection, you need to be thoroughly prepared. You need to be thoroughly prepared for the selection. That is why we do the videos. We try to prepare you, because I want to, by the time you go, selections are not for you to go there just to figure out what happens and all that. You need to go there wanting to be selected. And for you to be selected, you need to really, really be prepared. And that is why all this video you saw me doing, it was just an effort to ensure that you are thoroughly prepared for the selection. So I want to make sure that you watch those videos. And if you've already went for selection, you were not selected, I don't want you to be despondent. I don't want you to be discouraged. I want you to know that there's always hope. There's always hope. Remember what I say, Delay is not denial. Delay is not denial. The fact that you have been delayed to get into masters, it does not mean you have been denied into the master's program. It can happen. And if you listen to most of the videos that we have done lately, just in this month, in August, and also the one that we have done in July, where I interview people, I speak to the people who have been selected into masters, you'll realize even the last one that I've done, I think 2 weeks ago, just check it out, where I interviewed the student who have been selected into the master's program for 2023. You will be shocked to understand that majority of them, actually, they are going for the selection for the second time this year, and they have been selected. But also what is interesting, when you see the people I've interviewed previously, who are now doing the internship in psychology, who are doing their masters in psychology, majority of them, they actually share about how they were rejected for the first time. And they reflected about what happened, they corrected themselves, and they went back into the selection process again. So meaning they applied again and they were called, and they were able to correct areas where they did not do well. So I want to encourage you that if you were not yet selected, if you were not selected, you were invited, you went for the interview, but you were not selected. It doesn't matter whether it was for the second time rejection, first time rejection, delay is not denial. When you are delayed, when you are not accepted, it is not a rejection of you that you can't be a psychologist. It is, that is why some of you, when you do theories in psychology, there's a theory in psychology called cognitive behavioral therapy, where it is not about the events that occur, it is how you interpret them. So when you're not selected, you conclude that you can't be a psychologist. It is you who concluded, not that rejection. That rejection was a delay, was just a delay that you are not ready for this year, but you can come out again and be selected next year. So don't take that lack of acceptance as the final to say, I can never be a psychologist, clearly there's something wrong. It is your mind that affects you. It is your mind that affects you. So I'm here to encourage you that delay is not denial. You are not being denied to enter into the psychology program. But there's a reason why I'm also doing this video, is to give you some alternative options. To say, you might have applied for masters, you have an honors, but maybe your honors is not a B-Psych equivalent. Maybe your honors is not accredited to allow you. Remember, there's a video where I speak about accreditation. HPCSA accredit a course, but also the CHE, the Council for Higher Education, they accredit courses. Every course that you do in higher education, it has been accredited by the CHE, the Council for Higher Education. So that course is accredited, it is recognized in South Africa. The Department of Higher Education recognizes it. But for a course to be able to be recognized as a professional qualification, it needs to be accredited by HPCSA. So that is why some of the honors that we do, we call it equivalent, honors equivalent or B-Psych equivalent. In other words, it might not necessarily be a B-Psych, a full 4-year program, but they have a bridging course at an honors level that allows you to register as a counselor. So those courses, we call them B-Psych equivalent. They are more like an honors, but that honors has been accredited in order to allow you to become a counselor or a psychometrist. So I want to encourage you that if you have not been selected for masters, the last option that you have of being selected is to consider what we call a B-Psych equivalent. You can't do a B-Psych. A B-Psych is a 4-year program, but there's a B-Psych equivalent. These are honors programs that have been tailored to allow you to register as either a counselor or a psychometrist. A counselor and a psychometrist, both, they fall under what we call the psychology profession. They are not psychologists, but they are honors graduate who did a professional qualification, and they do a 6 months internship full-time, or they do 1-year internship full-time, and then you can register as a counselor to work in independent practice, or as a psychometrist or independent psychometrist to open your own practice. So these are most valued profession. Most of the time we disregard them, but they are very good profession. There's a video where I've done where I interviewed a psychometrist, and there's a one where I interviewed a counselor, where they share about how they work and their working environment and their business prospects. I want you to watch those videos to consider the route of being a counselor or a psychometrist. That's another profession. And the good thing about them as well is that if you do them and you qualify, even if you don't practice, or even if you practice a year, it becomes easier for you to get into masters. And I'm using the word easier very loosely because there's no guarantee. But I think your level of preparedness and your level of knowledge and understanding of psychology will become better when you practice in the field compared to somebody who is not either a psychometrist or a counselor. So I want to encourage you that definitely consider this particular two programs. And I wanted to also present to you, if you remember, there's a video that I've done, I think about maybe 2 months or 3 months ago, when I was showing you different universities, how many people they select, how many people apply. During that time, I remember I sent an email to Cornerstone College. Now, Cornerstone, the good thing about them is that they offer what we call a B-Psych equivalent. So they've got a B-Psych equivalent. This is an honors equivalent course that they offer to people who have psychology honors or who have a degree, who want to qualify as a counselor or psychometrist. So they replied to me this week, and I thought, you know what, let me just share it with you so that maybe you can, consider it and apply. So they sent me the email, and I just want to read to you what they sent to me. I asked them some few questions, and one of the questions that I asked them was, what is the admission requirement and how long is their equivalent program? The reason I asked them that is because the equivalent program, they differ. Like UJ will have 6 months, UKZN will have 18 months. Other places, they've got different duration. So I asked them that, their response was that their admission requirements can be found on this particular link. They sent me the link, but what they shared with me is that we admit students who have completed a third-year bachelor's degree in psychology, as well as students who have completed honors. So which means if you've got an honors or a degree, you can actually apply for this B-Psych equivalent. The second question that I asked them was, do you admit learners with a degree into the program or honors graduate? That is the question that they were answering. But I asked them as well, are there any special requirements for admission if you are a graduate in psychology? They said to me, no, you should be accepted. Should you be accepted, you may apply for up to 50% of our required credits to be transferred from the completed honors degree. In other words, if you've got an honors degree with module, remember, their B-Psych equivalent is more like an honors. So what they do, if you've done an honors, they can accredit you up to 50% of your credits. And this is actually in line with the CHE or EDHE policy, where you can't be accredited more than 50% of the credits. In other words, you can't go to an institute and say, I've done an honors, credit me and give me a B-Psych equivalent. It does not work like that. It's against the principles of accreditation. Accreditation can go to the maximum of 50 credits. That's all they can do. In other words, you need to do certain modules, which is also good, which means if you are accepted and you've got an honors, you are not going to carry the same module as other people. But what this allows you is that you can actually focus on upping your, getting better marks to allow you to get into the master's program, which is a good thing that most of you are worried about, because I hear people asking, what can I do if my marks are low? So this will be an option for you to be able to upper your marks if your marks are low, because you must understand, if you have passed an honors, you can't repeat it at your institute. They will not allow that, because you will be closing space for other people who want to get into honors. But you are allowed to do a course for non-degree purposes. But if you get to the B-Psych equivalent and you've got an honors, but you are given more modules to do, those modules, they give you more advantage, but also an opportunity to achieve higher marks. So this is the cornerstone. That's what they said in terms of the requirement. The last question I asked them I asked them, do you also provide internship internally, or do students have to find placement on their own? And they said when they answers, the practical placement are provided for the student, but if they've got one locally that they would like to work at, which is not on our list of establishment, we are happy to screen their suitability. In other words, when you do the B-Psych equivalent, which is a good thing about it, actually the requirement from HPCSA that institutes, they need to provide internship site where you can do your practicum. Actually in the masters, they're starting to actually implement this particular requirement. So they will place you, they will give you a list of institute where you can do your practical. So you don't need to worry about that. But if you've got your own place that you want to consider using, they say they can be able to consider that. And what they shared as well is that in 2023 they admitted 20 students into their B-Psych equivalent program, and in 2023 as well they admitted 35 students were accepted into the honors program, and they're not sure how many people applied for that honors program. So I think it's a good thing. The Cornerstone College, I'm going to put a link below this video with their where you can access that document. I think the applications are still open now until the in a month's time. So make sure that you apply. If you're really interested, apply as soon as possible and get into the B-Psych equivalent so that you can be able to become a registered counselor. I think this is one of the last options that you have if you really want a professional qualification in psychology beside the masters. And lastly, for those who might not have time to do this or to apply, you just want to get into a job, you just want to earn a living, I always don't encourage people with a degree in psychology or honors to look for a job. I think it might be, not that it might be, it's going to be a bit difficult, because remember, I always tell you that honors is just a bridging into a master's program. It's not a professional qualification on its own unless you do the B-Psych. So, but there are options. You can get a job, not that you can't get it. And I have helped some people to get jobs and they did get it. But I wonder if you will be fully happy with the kind of a job that you might have, particularly if you've got an honors or you've got a degree. You find your peers are earning more and you are not happy because you've got a degree, but you are earning peanuts. So you don't want that, you know. And so you want to be able to make sure that you earn proportionate to the level of qualification. But if you are looking for a job, there are options. You need to work very hard. When I say work very hard to get a job, it means you need to make sure that you apply on a weekly basis. You apply. And when I say apply, I mean you are putting 10 applications every week to be able to get something well, something good. Apply every week. I've done a video. I wanted to check this video. I think I've done several videos like this, but I've done several videos where I help you on how to apply for a job in South Africa, how to apply for a job online. Check this video where I give you guidance on how to apply, and I give you all the platforms which are good. You will be able to get jobs and apply for them, but you need to make sure that you work very hard to apply. You don't apply just once, you know, send 10 applications and say, you know what, it's difficult to find a job. No. You apply on a weekly basis, not a minimum. Not less than 10 applications. You need to send application like nobody's business if you're going to get something or a placement. So make sure that you check this video. They will guide you on how to apply for a job. So friends, let me leave it there. I just wanted to give you some words of encouragement so that you don't feel despondent. You don't, be discouraged about not being selected. It's not the end of the world. Remember my words, delay is not denial. The fact that you are not being accepted now is not that the door is shut. Your day can still come. Your day can still come, just like it came for many people who went for the selection for the second time this year, for the third time. Their day has finally arrived. And I believe that your day can also come. So don't be discouraged. Don't be despondent. Your day will also come. It's not the end of the world. But even if it doesn't work out with honors, you get a job, you still try it again next year. I'm telling you, that when you get into this program, you will never regret it. So I want to encourage you and remain strong, be strengthened, and let's engage online. If you've got any questions, please make sure that you put your questions below on the comment section, and I will be able to respond to them. And make sure that you share this video with as many people as possible. Share this video, click the like button, and let me know if there's anything that you want to know, that you have got questions about, and I will be able to address them as soon as possible. As soon as I see your comment, I will be able to address it. I encourage you that remain strong, remain focused, don't be despondent, don't feel discouraged. Your time will also come. Let me leave you and continue living life to the fullest.